Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm Tandy. On today's stream, we're going to be testing Boros Convoke, my front runner for the regional championship in Atlanta next weekend. I'm going to be on commentary, not playing, but this is the deck I would play if I were playing. Let's go over the archetype in general as well as the specific card choices before we begin our league. First and foremost, I just would like to say that the Convoke creatures, Knight Errant of Eos and Venerated Luxodon, have been significantly stronger, I think. One second. Spunky Punkus, thanks for 25 months. Thank you so much. The Convoke creatures are just a lot stronger, I think, than we really gave them credit for. Back in the day when it was in Standard, Venerated Luxodon was incredible, but you know, it suffered from just like running into sweepers all the time. Knight Errant of Eos kind of fills the gaps that Venerated Luxodon leaves behind, where Venerated Luxodon buffs the board, Knight Errant buffs your hand, and it makes it so that your future turns are stronger and more resilient to sweepers and removal. And so having both of them at the top end means that in some instances, in some games, you'll have a choice. And depending on the matchup, you'll choose board pressure or you'll choose card advantage. And it all just depends on the specific situations, but having access to both means that we are now given what I would consider a significant number of payoffs to be doing the Convoke thing. And with the printing of Gleeful Demolition, we actually got an incredible enabler that allows for Convoke to just be ahead of schedule. And when I say ahead of schedule, I mean in Pioneer, there's not a lot of free creatures. There's like Burning Tree Emissary, Ornithopter. There's a few free artifacts. There's a few cards that like refresh your mana when you play them. But for the most part, there's not that many free cards that exist in Pioneer. And our deck actually has a significant portion of the ones that I would deem playable. And Gleeful Demolition is one of the reasons why this deck even exists in the first place, because it allows you to make 3 creatures on turn 1 or 2, which lets you play your 5-drop Convoke creature on turn 2 a reasonable amount of time. And when you're playing a turn 2 Knight Errant of Eos or a turn 2 Venerated Luxodon on the play, there are very few decks in the format that can compete. And what ends up happening is it maybe they can come back from what's in play, but your future follow-ups are often able to leverage your early pressure and just like make your opponent always be playing from the back foot. And it's just such a tough road to hoe or whatever. Like your opponents just don't have the capability to be in the game if you play a turn 2 Convoke creature on the play. It's just nearly impossible. The rest of the deck, you know, we're geared towards enabling these cards, making them better. And the way we do that is with 0-drops like Ornithopter, which is secretly one of the best cards in the deck. I have a long-standing hatred of Ornithopter. I played it in multiple Pro Tours, and it was just the card I drew while I was losing a bunch. And I told myself a long time ago that I would never put Ornithopter in my deck again. That was a lie. You know, me and Ornithopter, we're cool now. We're like best friends. In this deck, it basically counts as like a Mox where you can play your Convoke creature a turn earlier. It works nicely in conjunction with newer additions like Warden of the Inner Sky. When I was playing Reckless Bushwhacker, it was great at enabling Reckless Bushwhacker as well, but it's also an artifact, and being an artifact for Gleeful Demolition is a huge deal. And I've actually seen some people cutting Ornithopter down to 3, and I have to say that I think the people doing that just don't understand the deck. I felt like I would rather draw 2 or 3 Ornithopters rather than no Ornithopters in basically every draw. And if you're ever mulliganing, which this deck does quite a bit and quite aggressively, putting back the second Ornithopter is often okay, but you almost never put back the first Ornithopter unless you're like on 4 or 5 cards because of how explosive it is in conjunction with both Gleeful Demolition and the Convoke creatures. Our deck is teched out a little bit. We have main deck Thalia, Garden of Thraben to help slow down opponents that are playing combo or very control-y. We're going to be cutting this against most of our creature-based opponents. Warden of the Inner Sky is one of the newer additions to the deck, and it is a significant addition to the deck. Not only is a 1-drop white creature, which helps convoke out Venerated and Knight Errant nicely, it is also a payoff. You can tap 3 artifacts and or creatures to put a counter on it and scry 1. I cannot tell you how powerful this ability is. I think no matter what I say, I'll undersell it. So I'll just let it speak for itself when it's in play. This will be your best turn one drop almost every single time, unless you have Gleeful Demolition plus one of the artifact generators. Those are the times where you do the other one instead. Resolute Reinforcements is one of the weaker cards in the deck, but it is something that's quite good at enabling your Convoke stuff, especially in the face of heavy spot removal. So I like playing a bunch of them. We are down to 3 Imidane's Recruiters, which you could play some number of Reckless Bushwhacker over this if you want, but I think at this point, I have found, at least personally, that I like Imidane's Recruiter better than Reckless Bushwhacker. And since we're not playing Burning Tree Emissary, I think Bushwhacker is significantly worse in this build. So, like the turns where you get to go turn 2 Reinforcements, turn 3 Imidane, that's just like a reasonable amount of pressure you can put on some of the control opponents or some of the combo opponents and allow you to really hit them hard without too much of an investment, really low, if you're low in resources or whatever. The Sunshot Militia I tried in one of my leagues like a month ago, and it was awesome. And I cut it because I thought we really needed Giant Killer. But the more I played with Giant Killer, the more I felt like it was bad. It's another one drop, which is helpful for convoking. And I would say that I use Chop Down maybe once a league. And I don't think that makes it worthwhile because I think playing it to tap stuff down is also not that great. If you told me that we were playing it just to kill Shieldred, I would say that we can maybe ignore Shieldred, and hopefully Warden of the Undersky lets us push over Shieldred. Same with Knight Errants and such. Obviously, if they play Shieldred and you're empty on the battlefield, very unlikely you're going to win. I don't think one chop down is going to save you most of the time in those scenarios because you're usually so far behind that it doesn't matter. Sideboard, we have Wedding Announcement. This is a 3-of to help out against Rakdos mid. It's a very strong one-card engine that allows you to draw a bunch or create a bunch of pressure. 2 copies of Rydane, God of the Worthy. This is mostly for like Lotus Field, control decks with a bunch of expensive stuff on the top end. The backside, Valkyria, can actually be quite nice against Rakdos Sacrifice, though. Dust Rose Reliquary. This is mostly for Mono Green Devotion. We want this to exile big creatures that we would normally not be able to answer. And since we have to sacrifice an artifact or a creature, we need to bring it in against matchups that are not interactive. And so that's why it's mostly for Mono Green. 3 copies of Rending Volley. This is great against Greasefang, number of other blue and white aggressive decks. I don't think I'll board this in too often against the mirror match, but I think a lot of people do. I might try to find space for it to see how good it is because I know Warden of the Inner Sky is one of the more important cards in the mirror now. And then 3 copies of Forged Devil, mostly for elves, but can come in a number of matchups to kill 1 toughness things, including the mirror. This is Boros Convoke. We are a Giganta build, and we'll be playing a league in just a moment. All right, we'll keep this hand. It's a little mana heavy, but we do have Silkins on. We can go Warden into Epicure Warden, put a counter on it and attack. Seems pretty solid. Bonus to Giganta deck. Could be Rakdos, could be a number of things. Could be the mirror. I don't think Torch the Tower is a bad card. I just think playing removal in your Boros Convoke deck is a mistake. I think even after sideboard, I would rather... If I do have removal, it needs to do other things. In my... build from the last Pioneer Regional Championship, I was playing Collective Effort in the sideboard, and it was quite good. I would recommend playing Collective Effort main deck maybe if that's something you'd like. It turns off Giganta though, so it's like, while Giganta is not the best card in the deck, it is still pretty good, which is why I like it. All right, so we are playing the mirror. They did mull to 4. Wow, brutal. I guess it could be something that's not the mirror. I don't know if we need to shock. I don't think we're going to take too much damage from our stuff, so we'll just play this. Then we'll go Scry. Any lands go to the bottom. Gleeful's great. The next turn we can go... we can't channel Silkins on next turn, but we will be able to Chef at Dune soon. I'll kill the blood token. Oh, so they're the other Boros deck. That's fine. All right, so we'll go plus on this. Resolute Reinforcements will bottom. Demo this. Thalia. I actually really like Thalia here. Play this tapped. Attack for 4 flying Vig. Now this is above their ability to kill it with Reckless Rage. Illuminator Virtuoso. We can definitely die if we're not careful, but the Thalia should prevent that from happening. All right, we'll attack with these two for 6. After combat, I'll put a counter on this one, I think. It's like very difficult for him to kill me through the Thalia, so I'm gonna go ahead and put another counter on my thing so I can threaten 2 lethal flyers next turn, maybe. But the Thalia locked it up there after they had a stumble for sure. So how many 1 toughness things do they have? They have Illuminator Virtuoso, but Swiss Spear favored. Both are 2. I don't think they have enough for Forge Devil. I do like Dust Rose, Reliquary, and I think I like some number of Running Volley. They're very good at gumming up the board. So I think Warden is good. I think the Convoke creatures all stay because we'll just be left mostly unhindered. So I think it's like Imodane. Sunshot seems lackluster. I think we'll be able to swarm them. And they're not going to be killing our stuff too much, so I don't know if Resolute's that good. So it could be D6 for D6, but we could maybe trim down on a Running Volley. They have quite a few red creatures. How does Copter fit in this deck? I mean, it's not in the deck, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it belongs. The Interpol? Yeah, it's Interpol. This song is called Obstacle 1. I always called it the Blast song. Alright, we'll keep this hand. It's a pretty good opener. We'll see if they have a net draw. They did go to 6, but I don't think that this is a particularly good matchup for us because they do have like a bunch of big tramplers or whatever. Alright, so we'll go for the turn 2 Knight Errant. And so that means I guess we start with Thraben Inspector so that they are not suspecting of... Alright, so if I play Warden, they have like a heavy incentive to go like Warden kill it or whatever with like a 1-drop into Reckless Rage or something out of the sideboard like Portable Hole. Whereas the Thraben Inspector, they'll basically just not tag it. And I doubt they'll kill the Clue token. No one ever does that. Oh yeah, this album is great. I agree. Alright, we'll play the Sokenzan. I really don't want to deal myself too much damage here. Then we'll play Warden, Convoke out Knight Errant on 2. We can still lose, though, very easily. Alright, this is a great draw, though. We'll go Venerated and maybe Ornithopter. But maybe we'll just have enough stuff to do both, so we just do both. Ornithopter might have been the safer pick, though, because it's better for enabling. Next turn, we go Resolute, tap 5, play a thing, 1, 2, 3. We can maybe draw a 1-drop. Illuminator is very scary. Alright, let's start with Venerated. Alright, we're gonna go full-blown ski here. We did cut Imodanes. I probably should have done this in reverse order because I have less information now. I'm gonna block Illuminator. This is turn 3, by the way. Turn 3, by the way. There you go. I mean, the deck's running very smoothly. This is a matchup, though, where I can just get combo killed with the Virtuoso, so... It is what it is. Are we threatening lethal next turn? Probably. Thalia should help out, too, if we don't die. The problem really with Illuminator Virtuoso is Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage is just an incredibly efficient version of that type of an effect, and it's just like so hard to not die. All right, here's Reckless Rage. This is going to be 12, 14, so they need one more thing. And they got it. All right. Tilt. I mean, this is our turn 3, but we died, right? That's kind of the nature of Pioneer. It's kind of wild, if I'm being honest. It's not so Copter is a great way to utilize extra small bodies. So like the reason why people want to put it into the deck is for that very reason. But it doesn't convoke the big things. It's only a payoff. Whereas like Warden and Sunshot Militia are both they're both like payoffs that also enable early. If that makes sense. Maybe I should have played Battlefield Forge there and took a damage. Now, if I draw a red 1-drop, I can't play both. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and pump this thing in Scry. We don't need to land, we'll bottom it. It's hard from duelist consideration since it's double duty. I don't think that the 3-cost part of that is very good for the deck, but I do think the card is cool. And sometimes that's all you really need is something to be cool. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play Knight Errant. Raven and Warden. I don't think you're going to see too much of this Boros aggro deck. This deck was really powerful against mono green. I don't know if it's really something we got to worry too much about. Reckless Rage. In terms of like the regional championship, and this obviously we have to worry about it here. We're getting fucking owned, but you know what I mean. All right, so what are we gonna do? So we go Raven. We go you to tap both of these and this. Ollie on top. Keep it. We go Warden. I want to play the Thalia here, so I think I just do this. Get the Ornithopter as well, just as an extra blocker. We can maybe die from 10, so I'm not going to pump the Warden. Even with the Thalia. They can kill Thalia, play a land, and then play 2 more things, and if they're Reckless Rages, we just die. Spikefield on the Thalia is horrible for me. Let's see how they attack. Just this. I'll block, I think. Burn their God's Willing or whatever. They didn't attack with either of these, so that means that we're not under that much pressure, and losing a 4/4 is not a huge deal. Now, losing a 4/4 and then them keeping their creature, that sucks. But I'm also glad that I blocked how I did. Alright, what are we doing now? We're probably killing the blood token, maybe drawing a card off the clue token. Duskrose Reliquary is one heck of a draw. Alright, so let's start with pump this Warden. Alright, we'll go Duskrose Reliquary. We'll sack the blood. If they have God's Willing here, so be it. We'll have a better idea on how to block. Then we'll go Demo here. We'll go this, this, this. I think another Thalia is pretty good. I'll keep it on top. Alright, we'll just attack with the Warden that has Flying Vig. And I can probably attack with this as well. Now, anything, if they go like block, buff, right? It's just, I like having them having fewer cards in hand and me having perfect information. Is there an argument to keeping the Thopter untapped to beat God's Willing? I mean, sure. I don't know that God's Willing kills me. I have red and white creatures, so. Also, I'm not going to tap 3 at the end of turn. Alright, so them not attacking means the game's over. So we can go Thalia, and then this will maybe put some pressure on them to act. This will get bigger. Keep that on top. All right, so now if we attack with everything, this is 4/8, and then we got other creatures getting in, so we'll just swing with everybody. As long as the 2 wardens get through, 4 of the little guys will get in. Even if they have a removal spell, they'd have to have one for warden, and it's pretty big, and they're F6, so I think it's a GG. But the Dust Rose Reliquary looked pretty good there, even in a situation where maybe they're not dead. I wonder if they have something that gains life, or maybe they have something that does kill the warden. All right, GG, nice. All right, this opener is pretty weak. I kept it on accident. Cool. All right, we'll just play Inspiring Vantage and go. I definitely would have mulliganed this if I didn't click OK on accident. Streaming's hard, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's not good when they have 1 card in hand. Probably not. That was maybe a mistake, but I thought it was better than a land. We'll do a damage with the Sunshot Militia. This card has been surprisingly good for me. Chip damage in spots where you can't get through on attacks happens quite a bit. Smuggler's Copter, perfect. This was a good draw too. And I'm going to hold on to the Ganjo for the Smuggler's Copter, but we'll go ahead and get the Knight Errant down. All right, we'll take the 2 we can take. Talia is going to be quite good next turn. How's the mono green doing? We couldn't quite get the mono green deck to work, but it wasn't that it didn't work. It's that it wasn't messed up. And we're really looking for messed up stuff. I know Boros is messed up. I know Rakdos mid is great, right? We're just looking for the most broken stuff. All right, here's Trespasser with nothing to do. If they attack for 3, so be it. All right, I am not going to do anything super crazy. I'm going to attack with just Knight Errant. And then we're going to spray and pray. The Thalia doesn't even seem that necessary here. We're going to Resolute. I do kind of want to play the Thalia. Maybe getting the Warden down's better, though. But then maybe we find an Ornithopter and we can trigger the... Oh, Imidane's great. But we'll go ahead and just Sunshot. Tap 2. Now they're at 14. We have Imidanes. We have a huge board. We have the Thalia shutting them down too. Sands worked out. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, when your opponent does nothing to interact with you, it's usually pretty good. All right, we're going to get Marcus on the call. Hello. This is Marcus. Hey. That's okay. I was just going to have you on audio only. I stream my screen so you can watch. I mostly just want to talk to you about Pioneer, and I don't know. This is the deck I think is best right now, so... Yeah. What's your opinion on siding out Imidane's Recruiter against Rakdos mid? Yo, James, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate you. No, I feel you on that. I think I usually just swap them out for wedding announcements. My opponents are often sweeping me and hitting me with removal spells, and it just makes Imidane's like way worse until you have complete board dominance. But usually, when you have board dominance, it just doesn't matter. Like you just win with 1/1s. But I'm gonna trim two. The Sunshot Militia can go as well. Are you able? All right. I want to lead with Warden, but I think it's gonna die. I guess I can just lead with Thraben, and then if I don't draw the land, instead of Gleeful, I can just Warden plus Scry, and they're unlikely to kill the Thraben. Or they could just strip it from me, and then I'm screwed. Travis, is this what you're playing in the regional championship? All right. Unfortunately, we didn't draw the land. We'll play the Warden. We'll go ahead and get a Scry if they let us. We can get our thing stomped here, but the Scry is the important thing. And we didn't have anything to do with Gleeful anyway, so just do it again next turn. Bottom the no lander. Where are you from, Marcus? We don't really know each other that well. So somewhere with trains, probably Pennsylvania would be my guess. Oh, cool, awesome. All right, a lot of tough decisions here. I think it's Warden, Scry, and then Gleeful Scry. Do you play the Needle Verge on red or white? This is yeah. Keep that. All right, now if our Warden survives, the game's easy. If our Warden dies, the game's gonna be really hard. What's your oh my god. I'm dead. I quit. Yeah, I probably should just concede, but I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot you can do against the 3 mana kill your board. I'll go ahead and do the Gleeful Sabot or Demolition while they're somewhat tapped out. Just in case. I don't really want to get hit with Thoughtseize in a spot where it makes a card dead since I'm already low on board and resources. Pretty happy with them not playing anything. Just Fable. I thought it was gonna be another Hidetsugu. Oh, that was a good draw. No, definitely great. And especially with Resolute, like I feel like I just have most of my bases covered now. Like, they can't really pressure me that well. I mean, the fact that they haven't been attacking with Bone Crusher signifies to me that they don't have spot removal on hand, because I was just like ready to triple block it, you know? But they, yeah. Mhm. All right, no answer for the Knight Errant. Let's go. We're just gonna spray and pray, hope they don't have extinction events or anything else. Put it all on the table. 5, yeah. So we can do this. My flyer, little juice. Guess I didn't really have to play the Resolute. For some reason, I thought I was convoking 2 things this turn. I don't even have the Warden in play. I definitely should have that in play here so I can get some extra juice out of my other things. Yeah, that's true. Collection's kind of scary, but we'll just start checking in. What happens if I attack with everybody? If I attack with everybody, they got 5 blockers. I think that's bad. I think I'm just going to start by attacking with the flyer and the 2 big things, and then we'll just keep playing little things and swarm them later. I'm like super fine. Oh, frick. Yeah, I actually thought maybe Vessel had flying on the backside too for a sec, but it didn't. I didn't. Alright, what do you kill? Bone Man? I kind of want to kill Bone Man because it's got 4 natural, whereas the Vessel has less. Alright, alright, we'll just kill the 4 power thing so they can't just one-shot the Venerated next turn, I guess. Ornithopter attack was horrible. Lesson learned. Keep an eye out for the flyers, obviously. No! Why is this only at sorcery speed? They're epic here. Put that on bottom. I don't mind drawing a land because the wedding announcement's okay. I think we got 2. No, we got 1. Mm-hmm. Games like devolving into this make me want to have more Imidanes after sideboard, so I'll reconsider that, I guess. Chat's roasting our opponent because they have 7 lands in play and Copter and Fable. And I don't think that they have used more than 4 mana in any turn. Alright, though I'm attacking with Copter here, probably what's going to happen. It can animate Copter and then make a copy of it and then animate the copy and attack for 6 to put me on a 2-turn clock. That's what I would do if I were them. I don't know if they will. Yeah, But I don't even have 15 power in play, I don't think, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we have 16 power, but they have a blocker. But yeah, I agree. But I think against Boros Convoke, you just have to like try to press damage when you can. Thanks again for the raid, James. Appreciate you. Hope you had a good stream. For those joining us, I have Marcus Luong. He's going to be my commentary partner for the regional championship coming up next weekend, and he's going to be play-by-play. I'm going to be color, and we'll be watching the regional championship. So we're going to be watching a lot of really great players. Right now, we're just doing some testing. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I think just gonna let's see if I send with everybody 5 biggest. I only take 5. Not great. All right, so they can just make a copy of something and chump. So I either attack with everything or nothing. So I'm just gonna say go. I think could make an argument to attack to try to draw a card so we can find Imidanes, but we're just like throwing away a creature or 2 creatures to draw a card, whereas I can just play a thing. They're interested in playing defensively. Have we dealt 9 to ourselves with Battlefield Forge? I don't think so. They attacked me. Maybe I have. I have done myself 9 damage. Sacred Foundry. We can push towards Shefet Dunes. Even if we get to attack with Shefet Dunes, though, we're only going to be doing like 10 damage through 5 blockers. I think we're just going to crack the blood. Yeah, I could have bought Jag, but I think we're just dead, but we'll see. Maybe flip Wedding plus Shefet or something. Sora says Giant got in once. Okay. So I took 5 from Battlefield Forge / Shefet. Shefet can be painful, but I quite like it. I like ruin my mana base to play Castle, whatever it's called, the Red Castle, Embereth, and for the last RC, and it made me play like artifact creatures as my 1-drops instead of Giant Killer. But my Burning Tree draws were much stronger because of my heavy red slant, and I had a lot more like lands that enter untapped on turns 4+. I didn't have Gigantha though because of Burning Tree. All right, opponent's getting aggro. No, just 3. Well, Embereth was really good for me, Elk. I had so many games where I just played Embereth as my 4th land, and my opponent just like sighed. Yeah, James, they could have killed me a bunch of different ways, homie. I don't know. All right, so second's on, so we can chef at Dunes plus attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers. So we only have 8 damage coming through. All right, so I think what's going to happen is I'm going to say go. We're going to flip wedding. Hopefully we don't die. They can make extra copters and actually kill us if they want to. We'll see if they go for it. They can crew copter, make a copy, untap. Crew copter, make a copy, crew copter, crew copter. Make a bunch of bloodlines and kill my board. Oh, let's see what they do. They haven't killed me yet. Mav says seems hard to have Embereth consistently untapped. I built my deck in such a way where it was easier. I had 4 mountains, 2 castle, and I didn't have as many white 1-drops. I was playing oh man, Yoshin Frontliner. That was the one. I actually thought Yoshin Frontliner was pretty good. I boarded out more than any other card, but it's literally just like a gap filler in game 1 for, any 1-drop is better than nothing. And it's an artifact. It can be 2 artifacts for this Gleeful Demolition. Alright, they're doing it. Alright, let's F6. Guess I could just be nice and concede. Ain't nobody got time for that. Alright, let's get the Imidanes back in. Let's I don't mind trimming an Ornithopter. I feel like it's okay in some spots. A little dangerous to target it with Gleeful most of the time. I don't mind trimming a Warden. Warden is excellent in general, but it is kind of dog shit against Fatal Push sometimes. We have to like dance around it a lot. I can maybe trim Resolute X1, but I feel like alright, we'll try cutting some Ornithopters. I don't think it's right, but you and other people are saying I should, so I know that like when we're both getting broken down to our like base components, the Ornithopter is like obviously a horrible top deck. It's not that good against Thoughtseize, etc. But I'm gonna keep this hand. It doesn't have a 1-drop, but has a pretty decent opener. I'm not gonna play Ornithopter on 1 because when I play Thalia on 2, they'll likely have to push the Ornithopter. But I also don't really care if they Thoughtseize it. It's like bottom tier card in hand. Might actually not play anything on 2 except Reinforcements EOT. It might help get my 5-drop down, but the Thalia here is just like such a ripper. Yeah. Alright, so I can't convoke. Can I? 3. I can convoke. Start with this, see if they kill the Thalia. I'm gonna Venerated. I want to put pressure on them while they're mostly tapped out. Hidetsugu can't be cast next turn unless they kill the Thalia first, and it doesn't even kill that much stuff. So this is just gonna really pressure them for not playing stuff. One thing you'll notice. Go ahead. Go ahead. Did I just play Knight Errant? I kind of want to play a Thalia. I just want to attack. Mhm. Yeah, I found the Rakdos has trouble beating the early venerated as well. I mean, if they just push my Thalia before I start doing all the Convoke shit, I think my game plan is mostly ruined. Oh, that was a good draw. All right, we're just gonna hammer them. Even if they have 2 removal spells here, they take a lot, and they need to be very cheap because of the Thalia. Good chance they just concede to this card, honestly. Play the card that they're likely to concede to every turn. That's what I always say. Yeah, it's almost like they're oh, what's it called? They're like Llanowar elves or whatever, you know. And we're just trying to find more ways to make them powerful. Man, they actually had 2 removal spells. So 2 Fatal Push, Hidetsugu, Heartless Act is their draw, and we are have them down to 6. Then they Wrath. Okay, cool. All right, we'll draw a card off Clue, see if we have anything worthwhile. Epicure is not bad to play here. We draw land or a Ornithopter. We can play Night Errant next turn. This is kind of my experience playing against Rakdos mid with Boros. Is like we just get hammered, and it just usually doesn't matter. Oh, that was good. Yeah, I'm not sold on the 3rd wedding announcement in the sideboard just yet, but if Rakdos is everywhere, then I think 3 makes a lot of sense. But I was pretty happy with 2 in my previous rounds of testing, and it's another card that just goes wide against their plan of like Hidetsugus and Languishes and stuff. So I'm not even sold that it's that good of a sideboard plan, but it's just a 1 card thing that's just great in general against them. All right, well, we'll just play our big boy, and then we'll go for the kill next turn. What do you think? Probably Resolute Thraben. I don't really see Thalia being much of an issue here anymore for him. We only have 3 lands. There you go. Can't quite pump the Warden. Since it's sorcery speed, we won't get the token until end of turn. Right on the Warden makes sense. Alright, so they flip Fable. If we just play Immodanes and attack with everybody, they have 3 blockers. They'll take 4 damage down to 1, and they'll lose all 3 of their creatures. I guess they'll cruise Smugglers with 1. If I draw a land for 3, yeah, okay. So now we'll go Thraben plus Immodane. I think this is close enough to lethal that I don't care if I lose some stuff. And their board presence is basically going to get wiped. So yeah, I mean, you can make an argument to wait, but I even have like Resolute on backup with the wedding as like a surprise damage thing over the next 2 turns. And the Immodane here with the actual land made it very easy, whereas before the land, it was like a question of do I burn my burst damage to, you know, turn off a lot of their defenses so that my future shit can get off. Anyway, this should be more than enough. See if they have a removal spell for Knight Errant. They crew Copter. They go trade, eat, trade, take 4 down to 1. And they have Copter, double reflection next turn to block. All right, so now that the everything's face up, we attack with everybody. I think they're just gonna do what I just said, where they chump the Knight Errant, they trade with Recruiter, and then eat something and take 4. So they are losing 2 blockers by just, but they don't lose their reflections, which is pretty scary. That's true. Also, next turn is not the scary reflection turn; it's the setup reflection turn. And so, if they just have the 2 blockers, they're just dead on board. So they need to draw something. I guess they have Hive to block, so they're not technically dead on board. Oh, they blocked with Copter in a way that made it not survive. That's very good for me. That's a good draw too. All right, so we just shove with everything. They have to Hive and triple block. That's their only way to not be dead. I guess they can go make a copy, block, block, kill. Yeah, if they had a removal spell though, they could go block, make a reflection, block with both reflections. All right, so they're going to keep their Hive alive. They lose both their reflections. The Warden. I'll definitely keep a Knight Errant of Eos on top. I can't Gleeful and Knight Errant this turn. So I think I'll just hold up Resolute and not Demo. What do you think about that? Mm-hmm. All right, GG. Very cool match. I had one in my initial list when I was trying out Warden because I saw the like LSV posted a thing about how Sunshot was like kind of cracked and limited, and I didn't like test for myself or anything. I don't play limited that much, but whenever something is like really good and limited, it makes me want to like see if it's good and constructed. And the way that Warden works in the deck, it just feels like a very easy slot in as a another like a fifth iteration of that effect. And the first time I played it, you know, my opponent had gummed up the board quite a bit, and then I just drew the Sunshot and killed them. And it was like, oh, this is kind of like Imadane's Recruiter, but instead of being good on a dry board, it's good on a wet board. And it's just like essentially a nice like, oh my god, I'm so screwed. No, it's not. I don't think this matchup's particularly good, but I had a sideboard plan for a long time of 4 Rinning Volley and 2 Tormod's Crypts, which was enough. I'm like undefeated against Greasefang when I have that configuration. I'm like 6-0 or something. But without that configuration, I'm 0 And most of the people I talk to after I like write my articles and stuff, they have similar, not issues, but just like that is their experience as well. Mhm. It's also a thing where how long have you been playing Magic for like a decade? That's close enough. So, did you ever get to play Wither against Splinter Twin in Modern? So my feelings on Splinter Twin were essentially that there are situations where you can choose to hold up um, interaction to stop the combo, but doing so shatters your board position in such a way where it makes their control plan beat you anyway. And whenever you learn that concept, it becomes much easier to identify when you should just hope they don't have it and do your own thing. And I think that that's just something that not a lot of people have learned over the years is that you can't beat a turn 3 Greasefang getting back a Parhelion in most situations. And so if holding like if you do have the ability to hold up like a Renning Volley or whatever, but it means that you don't get to play a threat and you're not actually putting any pressure on them, then what are you actually even accomplishing, right? So oftentimes I'll just cross my fingers against Greasefang and hope they don't have it, and it works out reasonably well. After sideboard, when you have the 1 mana answers, it's a bit different, but in this situation, there's just like not a whole lot to be done. You gotta do what you can do. Sunshot's really good against opponents who gum up the board. I don't think Greasefang gums up the board that well. It's basically just Chariot, and if they get their Greasefang shit going, then you're dead anyway. So I don't yeah, I don't really love Sunshot. I'm kind of thinking about trimming the Thalias too, but they often have a bunch of interaction after sideboard. That is, I don't know, just because I think the Resolute Reinforcements is great in attrition heavy matchups, and they get a little more attrition after board, but not enough. Yo, Elias, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. What's up, Polish? How are you? How's everyone doing today? Hope you are doing well. Well, I think they oftentimes sideboard in such a way that has a bunch of instant sorceries, and so I like Thalia uh, for that specific reason after sideboard. But I do agree that this is a matchup where it is worse than normal. Would you attack for one? I kind of don't wanna. Turns off Deadly Dispute if they have it. I haven't either. All right, good draw with the demo. So now we can explode and hope they don't have Grizzly into Greasefang, and they didn't. So we're in business. What's up, Mountain? I'm doing great, man. Hope you're doing well. Are you familiar with the name Chris Van Meter? Yeah. Nice, nice. I don't know what to do here. I kind of want Immodanes, but I kind of want a Thalia to keep him off a Chariot. But I think Immodanes is just so much damage. All right, deal. Anyway, whenever CVM, BBD, and I were traveling a bunch on the SCG tour, we had a companion in our group. Oh my god, there are one? I didn't even count. Quick maths. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, so anyway, there's a guy who would always drive, and his name was Stephen Horn. But we all, I wrote an article one time that basically underlined him as the Mountain from Game of Thrones, where like it was a stupid poetic whatever. It was like a tournament report written as if we were fucking in the Middle Ages or whatever. It was very weird, but I love doing it, and I dubbed him the Mountain Who Drives, and that's been his nickname ever since, is the Mountain, because he's fucking 7 feet tall or whatever. He's enormous, enormous guy. But he's in chat. That's the only reason. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Shane? How's it going? Push on the Epicure makes sense. All right, I'm going to play around the combo by holding up Resolute. There's a spot where the Thalia might actively screw me over. Okay, Parhelion in the graveyard. They took in 4 minutes, looks like. Yeah, knowing that they're a Stitcher supplier version, maybe I should have just cut the Thalias, honestly. All right, I'm going to Thraben Inspector under the guise that I'm holding up Volley / drawing the card. Here we go. Peasant's going pretty good, Cygnus. I like Boros quite a bit, and I think other people do as well. I want to double block. What do you think about that? I'll just take it. Fuck. Yeah, if I'm playing like a normal deck, I have like normal combat brain. But when you're playing Convoke, all your creatures are just land worlds, so like everyone you lose is bad. Another Informant. I got this Greasefang covered for a little while, but if they thought seize me, I'm gonna be in trouble. All right, again, I really don't think I can afford to play the Thalia because it makes it so I cannot hold up Running Volley. I think I just Luxodon. Just in case I'll need to activate the Bugbear or the Shefet Dunes, I'm going to play the Aganjo. I don't feel myself using it offensively here. Oh, that's true too. All right, here comes Sky Sovereign. This is pretty horrible for me. I really, honestly want to kill the Rafine's Informant so they have a harder time crewing it. And I also just can't attack if I don't, so let's just kill it. Kind of sucks because now I'm just in some trouble if they have it, but maybe they won't have it. Oh, I'm an idiot. They can still crew. I'm so stupid. That was bad. I should not have. I just thought that I was turning off their ability to crew, but I wasn't. All right. Fire away, Greasefang. I know they have it. They've been holding it the whole game because I've been playing weird. It's crew 3. Yeah, but you can crew with 2 creatures. I've cost Chariot. Okay. So now they can crew, attack, and kill the Thalia. That leaves them with a couple of blockers. They might kill something besides the Thalia, but all right. So I have 2 blockers for the 2 big guys. If I play Thraben plus Immodanes, that's 3, 7, 11, 13. And they're just chumping. The chariot cannot be crewed. I guess, hold on, we are threatening lethal, right? So 11, 13, 16, yeah. So we're threatening lethal. We're forcing at least one block, and so we can turn off their ability to double crew without extra help. And anything we hold back other than venerated gets killed by the Sky Sovereign anyway. So we are pretty low in life, so this is scary, but I don't think we have an option. If we don't venerate it, then they don't have to block, and they just crew with Sky Sovereign, attack, kill something, threaten lethal on the turn after, and we don't have lethal again. Yeah, let's see if they hit it. We gotta do. High game though. I'm not having the Grease Fang, running it into my volley or whatever. They even found Can't Stay Away. Luckily, they never milled over a Grease Fang. So any creature here is lethal. In order to not be dead, we would have had to hold back a venerated. So I'm fine with what's going on. Take my lumps if we lose. They can't stay away the supplier, right? Oh yeah, they can. I guess the Can't Stay Away killed me. I didn't even realize. Alright, GG. Yeah, I think the big takeaway is that we should just side out Thalia in the matchup. I think it was like expensive, gummed up my draw a little bit, and was not useful. And especially once we saw they had the Stitchers, like it's pretty obvious that their deck is just way more creature centric. All right, I'm gonna play. So they're gonna Resolute also, but I can Resolute and Pump. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. Warden is like the mirror breaker. Obviously, we can lose a number of other ways, but it is the thing that lets you get around your opponent's board position. Top is Gleeful. We do not have a way to make an artifact, so I will bottom it for now. We could maybe find one off Knight Errant next turn. Maybe that makes it worth keeping. Could use it as Fatal Push. Oh yeah, I guess we can use it to blow up their clue token. Alright. They found an Imidane's Recruiter, but they only found one creature off the Knight Errant. No play from them, but Imidane is a very scary card for next turn. I'm going to go for Thalia and Warden, and then Convoke Knight Errant in the hopes that I don't die, and the hopes that I can punish them on the swing back. Pop Clue is so much better than the alternative. which was another Resolute. All right, Imidane's ourselves plus Thraben. Now let's see if we can survive slash knock them back. I think if they go 1-drop plus Imidane, it's not lethal. It's not that close to lethal. We can block something like the Imidanes, and then maybe find a good crackback. Maybe just keep growing our board a bit so that our warden can start attacking. Ollie's definitely going to come out after sideboard. I don't know if I'd recommend that Seeker. I think Wedding is great. I think the third Wedding is maybe superfluous, but I do like the 2 Weddings in the sideboard. Ladoja says, do you think the deck wants extra Thrabens from the new card? What do you think? Have you seen the, was it Apprentice Detective or something like that? Apprentice Inspector? Have you seen this card? I don't know. I think it's good. I don't know exactly where it fits in the shell, but I do think it's a good card. There's some Thrabens. I don't think we're going to Imidanes this turn. We can just play 3 1-drops and then buff our stuff a bit. Oh, you're good. They went for Imidanes, but did not attack for very much. So we're going to buff this Warden up a bit. Some lands on bottom. This one's going to attack for 4. And now I have to decide, do I want to leave open blockers? They already played 1 Imidanes. I can pump another Warden now so that next turn I can attack for 8 flying. But I think next turn with Imidanes, I'm just going to kill them. Because I have... But maybe not, because they have 2 Ornithopters to block. I mostly just don't care about an Imidanes or a Chef at Dunes. So I kind of just want to buff. I mean, it's not really that scary though. I'm at 16. 2 of their creatures have no power. 3 of them have 1 power, and I still have 1 blocker. It takes all their mana to do it. Another Imidanes is like equally as scary as a Chef at Dunes, and I'm not scared of that either. Well, it could be. I've seen people trim down to 3 Ornithopter, and I think that they do not understand the deck. Yeah, I'm down to lose to weirdo combos. You just gotta like pick and choose, and you gotta like really squeeze the juice when you can. Also, they needed the land too because Thalia messed them up for the demo plus Imidane. Sorry about your cat. That's okay. Cats are great, Kabij. All right, here's another Imidane. And so if they swing with everybody, we're fine. If they don't swing with everybody, we're also fine. I think if they're not going to attack either with a lot of folks or at all, then they should definitely have made a couple 2/2s with Imidane. Oh, right. I keep forgetting Thalia actually has text in the match. This is very confusing. They're just like trying to chip damage me so the Chef at Dunes can kill me. But it's just like not going to work. Like this, the only thing this can be is nothing. There's nothing it can be. 3 damage, that's what it is. Alright, so they have 5 blockers. Chef at Dunes is an okay draw. Maybe. I was thinking about buffing a warden with them first, though. I'm trying to figure out if I want to Immodanes or not. I'm probably Immodanes because it's just more damage than the Chefette. And so worst case scenario is their last card is like another Resolute Reinforcements, and so they block in such a way where then Chefette Dunes kills me. But I think all their blocks are essentially needed in order to not die because I just have so much pressure. But I do also go to 12 if I use the red instead of the Chefette Dunes. All right. Let's go bump you. Oh, wow. It's like so silly that you can crack a tapped clue. Yeah. All right, we're swinging in. This should be them collapsing most of their board to not die, which means that Chefette, Immodanes, and stuff are not scary anymore. So this should go to us, assuming they don't have anything completely ridiculous that I'm not thinking of. Most of these are also chumps instead of trades, which is nice, which means that they're just losing almost everything, and I'm losing very little. And I still have a blocker. How about them apples? Yeah, Poppy says it's like welding jars being able to tap for mana off of Urza and then using them. That's definitely true. I always thought that was weird as well, being able to tap an artifact and then sacrifice it to its own ability. All right, mirror match. I think the Forge Devils are pretty good. Thalia can definitely come out. I really like Sunshot Militia in the matchup. It's like a reverse Immodanes in this type of situation. Right. McVitie cuts Immodanes in the matchup. I don't know if that's right because you have to immediately punish Alpha Strikes and overtaps. Maybe trimming one. That's the thing, man. He sees the game like the Matrix or whatever. He sees like ones and zeros. He doesn't see what the cards actually do. He just knows that in this matchup you need 5 cards that do this thing, 3 cards that do this thing, 6 cards that do that thing, and he just like pairs accordingly. What do you? I actually really want to try Rinning Volley in the mirror. I usually don't bring it in, but I think the Wardens really change how the matchup should be played. So I'm actually going to trust Max, trim Immodanes and Thalias, and bring in Forge Devil to slow them down early and Rinning Volley to kill Warden / 5-drop. I do feel like we will not have nearly as much burst damage, and that lack may make Night Errant of Eos worse. So perhaps we need to leave in some number of Immodanes, but just not all of them. What's up, Dark Light? How's it going? Why are y'all making fun of Dust Rose Reliquary? It's a great card. Yep. Yeah. All right. So here's Warden. This is problematic. I'm really glad they didn't play a freaking 5-drop though. Oh, they just demoed too early. I think they didn't realize that they could do it pre and then post. That's what that. I mean, I guess that's I think because we have a bunch of token generators in hand, I kind of want to push damage and just try to steal the game with Chef Dunes once they like overtap with the Warden or whatever. I don't know if this is right. Maybe holding back to just trade with the goblins is okay, but they're like not even highly incentivized to trade with the goblins or to attack with the goblins instead of convoking or whatever. All right, so they went full dumb dumb plan. That's fine. That's just something we gotta keep in the back of our head. All right, block block. Take a bunch. Yeah, but now, so them being on the play, having Warden and Immodanes meant that me not like I'm trying to draw what running volley is this lethal? So you have 3 blockers, 1, 2, 3, survive technically. What's really surviving though? And also I can't. All right, let's go with Immodanes on the play, and I still like Forge Devil, but it's so awkward sometimes. Maybe I've actually been considering cutting it because of Monogreen's absence. Yeah, I'm gonna keep a Sketcher. Mostly just want to see how much running volley actually affects the early game if they have Warden, and if killing the 4/4 buys me enough time to find like an artifact creature for demo. I wish. I, yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, if I brick, I could just gleeful their shit, but that's unlikely, I think. All right, I'm gonna blast it. Never want to let them get a scry. Maybe I can wait, but if I draw stuff to do on my own turn, I don't want to have to wait. All right, well now if I draw an artifact generator, I can play a 5-drop because I drew the land. But there's a chance I just like don't. Oh, they didn't play anything, and now we win. Oh yeah. I guess they could have some sort of 1-mana shatter thing. I'm gonna press damage here since they didn't play second land. We'll just play Venerate. The game should be over now. Okay, we still got 8 power though. That's the thing where, like, the moment that I go demo on my thing, I think they should just Running Volley the Thraben Inspector because my Convoke creatures are just so good. I'm gonna tap 3. Would you leave open red, white, red, red, or what can I leave open? I can either tap a mountain or a Chef at Dunes, and I kind of want to tap the mountain. That's fair. All right, reinforcements is fine. We can't go again on errant, so we'll just EOT enforce. Did you even play the Karn and mono green at this point? It stops Copter from being crude, but it gets attacked more easily, I assume. What does that even mean? It's banned. Why is that even a question? Yeah, I mean, they would just go back to what they were doing for 2 years. Yeah. All right. Well, we're just gonna do the dang thing. A couple Imidanes. Maybe Warden Imidanes. I don't know if we'll need the second Imidanes anyway. Warden here can maybe... I don't even know if I should bother. Probably should. Let's go swing in with these. And we'll put a counter on our Warden and Scry, and the next turn Imidane should be close to lethal, if not lethal. N.O. the book. Well, that's actually not a bad play next turn in conjunction with Imidanes. I'll just keep it. Alright. What can they do here? It has to be like Brotherhood's End or something silly. Something that they would never have unless it is Groundhog's Day. Alright, well, they have the Thought Seize. If they take Epicure, my Gleeful is worse. I imagine they'll take Epicure. It does offer a lot of juice. They could take Gleeful or Knight Errant, though. I think there's argument for all three, depending on their hand. Definitely Gleeful. I mean, I don't know, man. It just depends on their hand. I think the Epicure makes it so that I don't have an artifact and the Knight Errant is worse long term. But you know, if their draw just beats a bunch of 1/1s, they might just take Knight Errant. Like if they don't care about Imidanes and they only care about losing the super late game to Knight Errant, I think that's reasonable. Right. That's true. Second Thought Seize means Epicure this turn makes sense into taking Demo next turn or Knight Errant next turn, depending. All right, they took Gleeful. All right, I'm pretty happy. That means that their hand is just like very stockish. Nothing that I really have to be too afraid of. Just probably a bunch of removal, maybe another discard spell for Knight Errant. The boy. I think my odds of using a blood token here in a turn are very low. Chad is correct that they took Gleeful and that it's likely the most explosive card in the hand. But I will just say that with cards like Thoughtseize, it's not always take the obvious best card. It is regularly take the thing that kills you or is something you can't deal with. All right, well, they didn't stomp. Gonna go for Ye Old Knight Errant. We already have two Imidanes, so convoking for only two creatures shouldn't hurt us too badly. All right, we get hits for everything. Next turn, we can one drop plus Imidanes. So we could maybe take Ornithopter Warden. I don't hate that. And that way, if they kill Knight Errant, we have something else to start using our Convokey shit on. I don't know. What do you think? The Thalias may be okay, but I feel like they're just going to kill the Knight Errant, untap, and play Shieldred. And so I just need to be able to win that game. And I don't know that anything that I take here does, but... No, this is my... They were on the play. Yeah, it does with Warden, though, if I needed to. Like, it's, like, later in the game. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. I'm just going to take the Raven Inspector instead. Give me more raw permanence. Activate Blood. That's extremely good for me. And Stomp. I assume they had Stomp. Look, this if you're playing Rakdos chat and you have shitty spot removal, just fucking main phase kill your opponent's stuff. If you do that, they will just like never be able to convoke. And then you'll just never be in a bad position. I say never. It's like, you know what I'm saying. Alright, let's start with these. Sunshot Militia. That one is okay for punching damage through Shield Dread, but I already have 2 Imidanes. And I can't blood this turn. I'm just going to bottom it. How do I attack for 5? Oh, yeah. Maybe that's better. I think. Yeah, I was really interested in just getting Warden online now. To start attacking over the Shield Dread and then putting the Imidane there. Like we could go Warden plus Imidane attack for 5, put 1 counter on the Warden. Maybe that was the move. But I feel like we just need to push damage over multiple turns, so the second Imidane is fine. I don't know. Maybe next turn I'll make some 2/2s also. Copter? I'm a copter? I think so too. I don't do it that much, so I'm just gonna do it for science also. We're just gonna put a bunch of counters on the Warden and get in there for a bunch in the air. That also protect us from Smug. Resolute's pretty good. Alright, no Fatal Push, please. Alright, don't let me forget my Imidanes on Adventure. I do that every now and then. I'll like play an Adventure and then I'll play the other one from hand without thinking about it. Maybe you're right. Well, maybe we go. Maybe we don't main phase the reinforcements. That's kind of what I was thinking. So let's see where we're at. Let's see if I just play reinforcements Imidane. They have 3 blockers, 4 with the Mutavault. I can pump the Warden up to 6. The Imidanes will make it 7. They can chump with that. Then they have Shieldred, Harvester, Shaman. The Shieldred either trades or whatever to the Knight Errant, and then Blood Tithe and Shaman are trading with the Knight tokens or the Imidane. I actually have the Knight tokens with Vigilance to block as well, so maybe I can just shove with everything. Thoughtseize? Sorry, this. Tap land. I can draw that off of blood. Yeah, that's bad. Alright, I like your play. I think I'm gonna play the reinforcements and attack with it though, because these knights have vigilance. They can do some trading, but if they let's see, I guess they can eat one with knight, they can chump here, they can eat another with harvester. Copter chumps here. Alright, I like your line. I'm just gonna attack with... Oh, I did forget that actually. Maybe we shouldn't have... Okay, maybe it's just Knight Errant and the Warden. And we hold back Resolute for next turn, and then Resolute plus the Raven plus the Imidane on Suspend kills them. That's probably worth it, just attack with everything anyway. It's because we have 2 more blockers. Alright, so Mute Vault comes active. They'll probably activate Copter with the Mutavault to keep the land, but maybe they activate it with the Shaman. Keep the attack open. I like your line of play the one from hand. I think that was really smart. I didn't think about that. I thought about it in the other way, like it's punishing to accidentally play the Recruiter, right? But I didn't think about it as like a protective element against Thoughtseize. Didn't consider making tokens? I did. I talked about it a lot, Fire Drake. We decided to hold back to block. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're currently dealing them lethal, I think. This is 7, 12, 16. I guess they'll go to 1. Maybe did I have no, I don't have deterministic damage because they could have put Copter on Warden. So by not attacking with Resolute Reinforcements tokens, I made it so that they get to keep the Smuggler's Copter around. But that and the Shieldred are the only things they get to keep. And I have plenty of blockers to not die to the Shieldred attacks. So I think that plus the Imidane next turn should cover everything. They will get to gain 4 more life off the Fable and 2 more life off the Copter, but this thing's traded off. What's your deck of choice in Pioneer? I know you got one. Yeah, me too. I didn't play Lotus Field, but I was 1 match away as well. I do think it's pretty good right now. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm not confident we have lethal anymore. If they have a kill spell for the Warden, we'll see. I'm just gonna shove. I'm hoping that I draw a 1 or a 0 for Thraben Inspector Imidane this turn. All right, Bitter Triumph, discarding. That's fine. Okay, so now they have 2 blockers guaranteed, and I think now we're deterministic. All right, so Thraben, Imidane, they can block the 2 biggest. They still take at least 6. Oh, let's see, they can block with Copter and go to 8. So they crew with Copter, they block 2, they block the 2 biggest here, they take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. that right? I've been known to do some quick maths and die. Yeah. All right, so we definitely want the weddings, and we decided that Sunshot is not that good. Recruiter, I think I cut an Ornithopter. Fine. I think everyone else wanted me to cut 2 Ornithopter. Or was that a different matchup? All right, lean into it. I had some really funky sideboard plans at the RC. Open deck list changes everything, man. I was like, I had sideboard plans that boarded out 2 Luxodons, or like usually it was like all the Reckless Bushwhackers and 2 Luxodons, and I'd bring in like Collective Effort and Chain to the Rocks. I had a one of because I had 8 mountains in my deck. I had some weird shit going on. It was fun though. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna lead off here with Raven, I guess. That way we can go Warden plus Scry without it getting beaten by push. It means I don't get to attack if I draw lands. I'll play 2 things. Wouldn't be attacking into that anyway, I don't think. Alright, let's find red source now. Yay! Did it! We did it, chat! This is why Warden's so good, man. I keep so many one-landers with like Warden plus another 1-drop that makes a token, and I just don't care about missing my second land drop a bunch. Like, I hit my 3rd regularly. Or I hit my second land drop on 3 regularly. Okay, so how afraid are we of sweepers? Probably just demo. Oh, I should have Warden first, probably. No, you're right. I should have pumped before I demoed. I did the same thing the guy did earlier. Missed a buff so that I could get in damage, but it's more about getting it to 4/5 so it can fly over the ground stuff. It was going to get a counter from either convoking or from using its own ability. Maybe there was something to. I don't know. I think giving in. I don't know. I should have took more time on the turn for sure. It was probably the most important turn for me in the whole game, outside of whatever turn I decide to Immodane's on. Orange is busted. I agree, Fire Drake. I think it's great. He was the way who won the last game. We won the last game. I don't want to give their Bone Crusher Giant a target. What do you think? I just take the 2. Is it? great. Land for Imidane would be clutch. All right, so we'll go Epicure. We'll pump twice, attack for 4 flying, probably. At least pump once. Yes. Even good. We just attack with everything. So they're gonna kill the Warden next turn anyway, right? Yeah, unless I make it a 4/5. Put them to 9. If I just attack with everything here, they trade with it. They take 8 down to 5. I think this is just way better. What do you think about pumping it once and then attacking with the goblins in it and leaving back the Thraben to tap? Yeah, my thoughts here are that I don't necessarily want to pop it unless if my opponent wraths me here in a way that leaves my blood, I want it for the gleeful. But I also just have like now, but I have all untapped lands now. I only have 1 den. All right, let's. Hmm, let's just demo. If all I do is Bone Crusher, they're dead. They have Bone Crusher plus push. They kill a token. They take 4 down to 1 and trade Bone Crusher. And they're dead to Epicures. Fable, similarly dead. Oh, that's fair. It's better for me that they went with that instead of Bone Crusher because they don't get to keep a blocker around. Alright, let's see if they're dead. They have to lose their blocker, and they should be... Oh, they're popping blood? Bitter Triumph. Edge? 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 I love going 4-1. I don't know about you. It's like such a better feeling than going 3-2. And going 5-0 is great or whatever, but like if I go 3-2, I feel like I have failed. And when I go 4-1, I feel like I have succeeded. No, they drew it! No way they drew it. You SOB. Like sometimes the old desperation blood token gets there, you know? Alright, what you got? You gotta kill 2 1/1s. Yes! We did it, chat. 4-1. Alright, let's talk about the deck list a little bit because you didn't get to talk to us during the intro. I did like a 10 or 15-minute deck tech about everything. I'm just going to ask you about a couple cards from what you saw, what you think about them specifically. So let's start with the mana base. I went down to from 2 Den of the Bugbear down to 1, specifically because I had the second one a reasonable amount of time late in the game, and it would be a tapped land on 3 for like Imidanes. But where are you at in terms of like the utility lands? I can just change windows. Here we go. It's because Magic Online used to do tabs in version 3, and then they reverted back to individual windows for 4. Yeah. Anyway, so Den of the Bugbear. What do you think about one of Den of the Bugbear? I replaced the second copy with Ahsoken-Zan. I thought that they would be comparable with the main deck Thalias, but also just enter untapped. And since they both tap for red only, I felt like it was a decent swap. So here's my logic, and feel free to chime in. But in my opinion, they're very similar in what they're doing, and in both how much they cost as well as their upsides and downsides. Den is something you can play early and still get juice out of late. Soken's-On is something that if you play early, it's done. But drawing a Den as your third land often kills you, like pretty regularly kills you, because you need it to be Imidane or you need it to be Resolute plus 1 drop or Thalia plus 1 drop. I think the split, because we're main decking the Thalia, means that it's cost reduction enough, or often enough, where the 2 tokens do matter with Warden, with doing it end of turn so you can untap and do Immodanes. Hell, even main phasing it sometimes so you can convoke, 3 costs to make 2/1/1s. It didn't come up, but I also, like, we played a whole league, right? I didn't activate Din once. I didn't activate a Ganjo once. I didn't activate Sokanzon once. I didn't even activate Chef at Dunes once. But the threat of all of those things and having the ability to use those things in certain spots could have given me leverage when I was like behind on resources or just behind on the board. But the construction of the deck is very forgiving now with Warden and some other stuff. I don't feel like I flood very often anymore. I don't know how, if you've like been playing with Warden a bunch or not. All right. So someone in chat asked why the mountain over the plains. If you look at the color distribution of white versus red, it's actually pretty close. There's obviously leaning towards white, but if you look towards the lands themselves, you'll see that there are utility lands that are monocolored from both sides, and we have Den of the Bugbear, Ahsokan's and what I consider as a tech land as a mountain. It's just like protection from Field of Ruin or whatever. So we have 3 red ones, and we have 3 white ones with 2 Chefette Dunes in a Ganjo. So I just keep the numbers as even as possible in terms of colored sources, because we have 15 dual lands and then we have 6 special lands or whatever. You can change it to a plains, but if you do, I would probably cut Iganjo for another red utility land. But again, the second Den of the Bugbear is a little dangerous. The Iganjo is pretty good sometimes, but I've had most of the lands just be lands for the last like 3 leagues I've played. The fourth Ornithopter has been something I've been seeing cut in some lists, and I think it's definitely worth talking about. I'm under the impression that Ornithopter is like Mox Amber for the deck, and not only is it incredible with Gleeful Demolition, but it's also just a free creature for the Convoke stuff. And now with both Warden and Sunshot Militia, I think we just have a critical mass of need of raw rectangles. And I think Ornithopter just is perfect. And I like cutting them in matchups where it's like heavy attrition, because Thoughtseize and things like that break you down and you just need your cards to be able to stand on their own a little bit better. But I cannot imagine playing. I would maybe play 8 Ornithopters if I was able. I don't really get cutting them. Right, and in Pioneer specifically, there's not a lot of free cards, and so our deck is kind of centered around playing as many free cards as possible. And while I wouldn't consider Epicure and Thraben Inspector to be free cards, they do create 2 permanents for 1, and that essentially is creating like a free piece of cardboard, because every single piece of cardboard helps you convoke Warden, helps you turn on Gleeful, or helps you turn on the convoke creatures. Um, One card I do want to talk about, you didn't get to see it in action too much, and I think it's on the cutting block. What do you think of Sunshot Militia? Yeah, maybe Warden already overloads it, so it's unnecessary. Yeah, I want it to be cheaper. I don't think I want a fourth Immodanes. I think I'm closer to wanting 2 Immodanes than 4. I think 3 is a great number. So I don't know if you recall when people first started playing Immodanes, but they were playing like 2 Immodane, 2 Reckless Bushwhacker to see if Immodanes was good, and then it was 3 Immodanes, 1 Reckless Bushwhacker, and then it was 3 Immodanes, no Reckless Bushwhacker. But I felt like the fourth iteration of that slot of just like burst damage was useful in enough situations. Specifically, I think for like mono green, where they're able to just gum up the board, I thought Sunshot Militia was pretty good in those spots. But without mono green really being that big of a factor, I think maybe Sunshot is just not good enough. But it's so close, man. Like this is a card that I was so impressed with when I first played it that I wanted to build a deck around it. And with things like Mechanized Warfare, there's the new Ogier that does extra damage, so you just deal tons and tons. But that type of ping over and over again, it reminded me a lot of Gear per Ether Grid in the old Modern Affinity decks, where they were able to essentially use it to contain your stuff, but late game it was just like ping you to death. Even if you were killing all my stuff, it didn't matter. The Gear per Ether Grid was going to kill you. And Sunshot Militia felt a lot like that the first time I played it. This league, I think I cast it once. It dealt a damage when it came into play, and then didn't really do anything for the rest of the game. I think it was just worse than activating Warden of the Inner Sky, and that's why we went. But I think because of that, we had so many games where we had too much to do with our creatures from the Convoke and the Warden, and so that extra piece is likely unnecessary. We played against Rakdos twice, right? And even them killing all of our Wardens, I just didn't really need it. I have two. So my list from I have a sideboard guide on my Patreon from Wednesday, and instead of the Sunshot Militia and the fourth Resolute Reinforcements, I had cut these two cards, and I was playing two Giant Killers. And this was more so like, I understand that Giant Killer is a good card to have access to in theory. But every time I play it in this deck, I like never find it off of the Knight Errant when I really need it. I draw it a bunch when I have like Thalia in play, so chop down costs 4 instead of 3. So, and I think that maybe if you play Thalia, the chop down is just not good enough. And we played Rakdos twice, and Rakdos is the matchup where I really want a way to kill Sheoldred, but we just beat Sheoldred on board multiple times, and it was mostly due to Warden. And I think that the tandem attack of Warden plus Thalia is just like very difficult for them to keep up with sometimes. And so I don't know if I'd need chop down. I mean, if you cut one Sunshot and played a chop down Giant Killer, I think that's fine. If you want to go down to 2 Thalia and play 2 Giant Killer, or cut a Reinforcements and play another Giant Killer, something like that, that's where my list was. And it's probably where we're going to be for the regional championship. The big change for me is going to come in the sideboard, and figuring out if we can fit more utility lands in the mana base. I actually don't even like. I don't know how much Convoke you've played in general, but there was like some builds I was seeing early on only had 18 lands, and over time the land count grew because we realized that we could just use our lands as spells. And now more than ever, like with 21, I still just like never feel like I'm flooded ever, which is a great place to be. But it's also like maybe a reason just play a second Din of the Bugbear over the Sunshot Militia and call it a day. All right, all right. Quick hits. Let's wrap this up. Let's do sideboard. Tell me any of the numbers you hate, any of the cards you would cut, and then we'll figure out what to replace them with. Oh, you missed it! It was so sick in our. We actually had it against Boros Heroic, and it just killed like a 5/5. It was awesome. Oh, it's a big portable hole. It kills anything, but you have to sack an artifact or a creature. So it's kind of like Bone Splinters, but it can hit artifacts and creatures, and it also exiles. So this is more so like if there is mono green, Dust Rose is the answer because it costs 1. They're not pressuring your artifact stuff, so you just like are able to sacrifice Blood, Ornithopter, Clue, whatever. But it kills Old Growth Troll for 1, kills Cavalier of Thorns for 1. Whoa! Hold on, someone just in chat. I need to write this down. Rampaging Ferocidon. Someone said that's the Malia deck is a horrible matchup. I know that for sure. And they said Ferocidon has been quite good against them. So that's cool. Actually, this doesn't work. It works a little. It makes it so they can't gain life, but if they just use Cenote to explore, I don't think that's true. I thought she triggered. Oh wait, so she does trigger on life gain. Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, so the Dawn. We'll put the Dawn down there. That's fine. All right. Go ahead. What do you think about a Singleton? Rest in peace. I know Andrew Ellenbogen's been high on the one of rest in peace. Yeah, okay, so let's just say stock on Forge level down because lack of elves, but likely to be some number of elves at the tournament when people either are still trying to play mono green or trying out the Gruul Copter deck or some other elf deck. Renting Volley, I think, is still very good. Dusk Rose, maybe you could go down to like 2, but I would replace it with like a portable hole. And then the third wedding announcement is probably supposed to stay. I don't think we have much to bring in against Rakdos otherwise. And I think that it's a card that just gives you some longevity in the face of just a torrent of sweeper effects. Maybe it's like 4 Volley and a Rest in Peace, and those are the 5 cards we bring in against Greasefang. And we just hope that, like, the running volleys just show up in other matchups enough to justify the 4th one or something. That's true. It's also arguably great in the mirror match. I don't know if I want 4, but like it felt good killing the Warden against my opponent earlier, so I don't know. So people are talking about Get Lost. I think Get Lost is a great removal spell. What do you think about it in this deck specifically? All right. Well, Marcus, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging out on stream today. I'm gonna wrap up the video here in just a moment, but if you'd like to do this once next week on any weekday, let me know and I can make it happen. We can just play another deck, talk about the format, talk about matchups and stuff. But mostly, I just want to talk to you so that when we're doing the RC, it is more natural. All right, chat. This is Boros Convoke. We went 4-1. Deck is great. I'm great. This is what I would recommend for the regional championship this weekend, give or take 5 cards. I think the main deck is pretty close to perfect. I think that this 59 card set is quite good. The extra slot that we have left over, it can be a giant killer, it can be another land, it could be some other one drop that I haven't thought of or that someone else says we should play. Maybe it's a one of Get Lost. I've seen one Get Lost in a lot of list main deck. A lot to think about in terms of how to build the sideboard. I think the 3 Wedding, 2 Rydane is like locked, set in stone. I think 2 Renting Volleys are set in stone. And then everything else, even the Gigantha is maybe up in the air if we don't want it. These are just all cards that let you keep Gigantha. They're kind of like dummy proof. But if you wanted to play Collective Effort, if you wanted to play some double red card or some double white card that I'm not thinking about, I think that that's okay. Some matchups you can afford to not have Gigantha. I don't even know if we bought it a single time in the whole league. And when I was playing the Burning Tree Emissary version of the deck back in the day, earlier this year, I didn't really miss Gigantha. It's kind of like a free roll when you play this build. But I do think this build is better than the Burning Tree builds. I think Warden of the Inner Sky pairs really nicely with Thalia in terms of like just keeping your opponent on the back foot, either through combat or through taxing their spells. And Resolute Reinforcement just works really nicely with Warden, whereas Burning Tree, being double red, puts a lot of stress on your early drops, your mana base, things like that. Overall, I've really liked this deck, and I would highly recommend it. This has been Tandy, and I'm playing Pioneer, Boros Convoke, in preparation for the regional championship next weekend, which I'll be doing commentary with Marcus Luong, the person who was just on the call with me. I hope you enjoyed it.